Hey folks, Eric Bray, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock. It is Tuesday, October the 10th. Been on the water pretty much every day, either here or Taneycomo in the last week. Things are changing a little bit. The fish are still pretty scattered though. To be honest with you, it's not great. They're still scattered. Water temperature still fairly warm. I figure just had a cold front pass through, so hopefully it'll cool the water temperature down a little bit, but as of right now they're still pretty scattered. Still catching fish every day, but you've got to work for them, and you've got to move quite a bit. You can't just stay on top of one school, and you really can't just work one bank. You've got to move around quite a bit to stay on the fish. As far as our lake level is concerned, we are at 916.39 as of this morning, which puts us about 1.5 feet above normal winter pool, a little bit below normal summer pool. They are working on dropping it down, so I figure probably within the next couple of weeks we will see winter pool. By the end of October for sure we'll be back at winter pool, unless we get a lot of rain. Didn't get much out of this rainstorm last night or this morning, just basically a sprinkle. A little bit heavier rain to the north of Springfield, but not a whole lot down here. As far as our water temperature is concerned, we're still at 75.3 as of this morning. Even with this cool rain this morning, didn't knock the temperature down very much. So we're still 75, 76 all over the lake. And we're going to have a cold night tonight, a couple of cold days, but I think it's supposed to warm back up into the 80s by the weekend. So as far as the water temperature dropping anytime soon, it's probably not going to happen. We need to have some more normal fall temperatures for our water temperature to drop, and for the fish to really move up and to start feeding a lot more aggressively and being a lot more shallow. But if you guys are coming down, say you're going to fish the lower end of the lake, we've still got 2 or 3 good bites going on down there. I was down there over the weekend quite a bit. Number one thing you want to have tied on is a top water. They're not going crazy on a top water, but they are coming up quite a bit. I've been throwing a whopper plopper, a spook, a sammy, a popar, and really looking for shad and looking for schooling fish. First thing in the morning for about an hour, hour and a half is probably your best topwater bite, but keep it laying on the deck because they have been coming up on shad even as late as noon or 1 o'clock. So make sure you've got it at the ready because you will have fish coming up on that. I have been catching fish on a drop shot down there as well. Seems like the fish that are out on those gravel points are really the better fish to target. It's kind of weird. One week I'll say they're in the trees, the next week I say on the gravel points. This past week it has been on gravel points, mostly from about 23 out to about 35, and really that 28 to 31 range seems to be the best. Still using a shad shaped worm, Yamamoto cut tail, Chomper's drop shot worm, and a UV finesse worm and a UV drop shot worm. All those baits are working on the drop shot rig. Most of the fish are relating to the bottom. If you're out there and you see fish on the bottom, chances are those are going to be spotted bass. If you see the fish up suspended, those have been smallmouth for the most part, and most of those smallmouth that are up are smaller fish. We're not really catching a lot of keeper smallmouth yet. I still think those fish are out deeper and feeding more at night. And then we are catching some on a jig, Jewel Pro Spider jig and a Jewel Football jig. Both are working down there. Okeechobee Blue, Green Pumpkin Candy, Table Rock Secret, those have all been really good colors, and matching that up with either a J-tail or a Zoom Speed Craw. Those fish are on a couple of different banks, catching some of them on those transition areas from bluffs or channel swings to where it gets down in the smaller rock to gravel, or out on those gravel runouts, out on those long gravel points, anywhere from about 10 to 25 foot deep on the gravel. Those fish that are on those swings, depending on how deep it is, I've been keeping the boat around 20, 25, and most of those fish are coming in that 12 to 18 foot range. Go up into the Kimberling City area, and the jig bite's strong in the Kimberling City area as well. Been doing well with the Jewel Pro Spider jig, especially around boat docks on the sunny days. Seems like there's a lot more fish around docks once you get to Kimberling and above than there are down on the lower end. So doing better with a Jewel Pro Spider jig. Okeechobee Blue's been a really good color. Table Rock Secret's been a good color, and Green Pumpkin Candy. And I am doing better with the Speed Craw from Kimberling City up than I am downstream. So really haven't been throwing the J-tail or much else up this way. Drop shot rig's been really strong too. Again, seems like those gravel runouts are a lot better than the trees are right now. Anywhere from about 23 to 35. The key depth about 28 to 31 seems to be where most of the fish are. Shad-shaped worm, UV finesse worm, Yamamoto cut tail, and the Chomper's drop shot worm have all been good baits on the drop shot rig. Catching a few on a War Eagle spinnerbait if you get the right day. Would have thought today would have been a good day for it. It's cloudy, it's windy, but we kind of got out here late, and it's more of, we got behind the front. When I launched this morning, the air temperature was about, I think about 68 or 69. Right now it's in the 50s, and it has continued to drop. So I think we got behind the front, so those spinnerbait fish really didn't go on for us today. But spinnerbait has been working on cloudy, windy days. You're not going to load the boat on a spinnerbait, but you will get some better largemouth throwing a spinnerbait right now. And basically, you're looking for those transition areas where it goes from bigger rock to smaller rock. And if there's a piece of wood, particularly a laydown or a stump that's up there fairly shallow, the largemouth have been keying on that wood on those transition areas. So have a spinnerbait tied on, and of course a top water. They are coming up, surfacing all over first thing in the morning. Seems like that bite really has waned over the last couple of weeks. There's still a decent topwater bite, but it's not something you can do all day. But leave it laying on your deck, because those fish have been coming up throughout the day. They'll break off a small pod of shad off of the bigger school that's down below, and they will surface for 2 or 3 minutes. And if you're in the right place at the right time, you can put a decent fish in the boat on a topwater right now. Come up into the James where I am today, and it was kind of tough today. Like I said, we got out here, I think we were behind the front. I think the front passed through sometime around 2 or 3 o'clock this morning, and the temperatures progressively dropped since then, and the bite has been tougher. As far as today's concerned, we did have a couple on the topwater this morning, had more fish blowing up on it than actually eating it, but did catch a couple of decent fish on it. And then we switched up to a drop shot. Couldn't really give away a jig or anything else up here today, but the jig bite has been quite strong up here. Pro spider jig's been good. Football jig, jewel football jig has been good. Both of those with a J-tail or a speed craw on it. Seems like the dock bite's pretty strong here in the Ants Creek area and on up, or fishing those transition areas where it goes from rock to gravel have been really good. Not a whole lot of fish on a football jig out here on these gravel points, at least not in the mid-James. I think if you go up around Cape Fair, you'll probably do better with a football jig up that way, but we didn't do real well with it down here in the last couple of days. And then, of course, topwater. Got to have a topwater tied on no matter where you are on the lake right now. Spook, Sammy, Popper, Whopper, Plopper, whatever your favorite bait is, whatever your favorite topwater bait is, has been key first thing in the morning. And make sure you've got one tied on throughout the day, because those fish will break off some shad and come to the surface for 2, 3, 5 minutes at a time. Again, right place, right time. You can put a really good fish in the boat doing that. White River's actually been pretty strong. Had a couple of really good trips up there last week. Definitely have a topwater tied on. A lot of fish coming on a spook, a lot of fish coming on a Whopper Plopper or a Popper or a Sammy, any of those baits. Watch for surfacing activity. First thing in the morning is when we're catching most of them, but make sure you leave that laying on your front deck ready to throw, because again, throughout the day those fish will come up and chase shad, so you definitely want to have a topwater tied on throughout the day in the white. Drop shot rig's been really strong up there as well. Had a really good drop shot day towards the end of the week last week. Most of the fish were on deeper gravel points, anywhere from 24 to about 34 foot deep up there, relating to the bottom. And again, it's one of those deals where you drop it down, you'll see one on the bottom, you'll hook him, and you'll see a lot more come up. So make sure you've got a drop shot tied on. Shad-shaped worm's been good. Cut tail worm's been good. UV finesse worm's been good. And the Chomper's drop shot worm. All those have been working out there. Again, on those gravel runouts, anywhere from about 23, 24 out to about 34 foot deep. Seems to be the magic area where I've been catching most of them up there. Jig bite's been strong, especially shell knob area on up. Jewel Pro Spider jig has been better than the football jig. Kind of a weird deal up there. For one reason or another, they're wanting that smaller profile bait with a Zoom Speed Craw on it. Okeechobee Blue, Green Pumpkin Candy, Table Rock Secret have all been good, been doing well with again, the speed craw, and putting a little orange on the pinchers seemed to make a difference up there. Most of the fish are coming on those transition areas where it goes from bigger rock to smaller rock, both on the main lake and back in some of the bigger creeks, like Big Creek has been really good with a jig. But you're not going to load the boat anywhere right now, guys. The fish are scattered. Even on a jig, you got to kind of stick and move, catch 2 or 3 and move on, because there's not a lot of fish up anywhere till we get this water temperature cooled down. And a spinnerbait. Did pretty good with a spinnerbait up there as well last week. Had a good windy day. A little bit warmer, caught quite a few fish up fairly shallow on those transition areas where it goes from rock to gravel. And War Eagle spinnerbait, tandem willow, mouse was a really good color, spot remover's been a really good color. And again, if you get an area where you've got that transition rock and you get a little bit of wood on it, that really seems to be where the largemouth are. So if you're looking to target largemouth, you're going to have to move a lot, you're going to have to fish around a lot, but you can catch some largemouth right now throwing a spinnerbait up around shallow transition areas where you've got a little bit of wood on it. Guys, it is midway through October, and until today I would have told you it's summertime, but it's actually a little chilly today. It actually feels like fall. I'm going to have a cool day tomorrow, I think a cool day on Thursday, and then it starts warming up again. Really wish we get some cool weather, because I really think that would turn these fish on and we get back to our normal fall pattern. Right now I'd say we're more of a late summer, early fall pattern, but we are catching some fish. If you guys are coming down, maybe you're fishing the Toyota this weekend, it's going to be a grind, guys. So don't think you're going to come down and load the boat. Keep your head in the game and you'll catch some fish. But if you guys are coming down, maybe you're thinking about hiring a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. Hit my website, focusfishing.com. Either shoot me an email or book online. Either way, I'll get back to you as soon as I can, usually within 10 or 12 hours at the longest. We'll hook up, get dates and times figured out, but a lot of good fall fishing coming up. November is going to be fantastic. I really think we're going to have a great November this year, good December this year. So if you guys are coming down maybe for the holidays, maybe to see some of the Christmas lights and whatnot in Branson, set aside at least a morning to go fishing, because it'll definitely be worth it. The November fishing and December fishing is going to be really, really good. But give me a call, we'll get hooked up, we'll go out, we'll go have a good time, we'll go fishing. But thanks for watching the videos. Take a moment to subscribe if you don't mind. Thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.
Thank you.